So the Enneagram, Ennea means 9, gram means picture, pretty straightforward. In the immediate previous segment, I talked about sacred geometry, the power and the importance of the different numbers. I'm going to offer a little bit of philosophy here. So if you think of life as an adventure, or if you think of life as a school, there has to be an entry point and there has to be a journey and there has to be an exit point. And we know this because our life is transitory as we experience it. Now, life may be eternal, our souls may be eternal, our consciousness may be eternal. We may be existing in past lives or multiple coexistent realities. But life as we know it, Naomi, Jen, your name, that does have a beginning and an end. The consciousness or the soul that drives you, that animates you, that may not have an end, but our particular lives do. So there's an entry point and an exit point, and there's a journey that we take. Now, one way to look at this is if we enter in the center from the universal everything. Now, keeping in mind, some people say it's nurture, some people say it's nature. I think there's a combination. You are going to naturally fall into one of these 3 segments of the head, the body, or the heart type. All this means is, where do you lead? Because we all have hearts and feelings, thoughts and head energy, body, emotional energy. We all have all of those things. But when we enter, we have a predisposition to one is where we're led. And that shapes and informs the rest of our journey. Now, one of the ways that I kind of see this is when we fall into an area, let's just arbitrarily pick the heart. Let's say that our predisposition is toward the qualities of the 3, which we'll talk about more in a minute. Well, it is through the lens of the 3 personality type then that I do the journey of life, that I go and I travel and I see all these things and I have these experiences, eventually to return to the whole back through here. So one way that you can look at this diagram is you enter in the center from the divine. You have a series of journeys, usually through your main point of life view, your main Enneagram type. And then there's some sort of completion and you leave, you go back to the whole. Some people prefer, if you want to think of it as entering from the outside, and then you come in through one of these points and you take a journey. But ultimately you end back up in the center, because the observable reality that we have is that something, which I personally call the soul that the creator made, or the consciousness, animates a body that was created. You know, mom was a spark in daddy's eye, and then there's a body created. And then the soul comes in and animates it. And I mean, we can observe that. We don't even have to get sciencey about it. Now, whether your point of view is that this is just something that happens, or the more common point of view is that this is an experience that has some intention. You know, are you here for a purpose? Are you here to learn? Are you here to grow? What is the purpose of life? You know, this big why. Well, if the purpose is to have a journey, to learn, to grow, to connect, to create, to explore, I'm taking that point of view and I'm applying it to this diagram. And, you know, philosophically, you can start in the middle and see where you fall, or you can see that a person or a soul or consciousness might say, well, I want to enter the circle through this, in this case, the 8. And I want to go on all these journeys through all these roadmaps and end up leaving through here. It's just my thought. You don't have to share it. But from a philosophical standpoint, I think that if you can think of the Enneagram as kind of a part of your journey, because each one of these personality types colors your journey. And you can walk next to somebody and have the exact same experience objectively, but because of the way your journey and your mind and your psyche and your soul and your body all work together, you can have an entirely different experience. This is part of the reason why we learn to build these bridges and communicate and see and feel all these other amazing things that other people are having in their life, so we can broaden our concept. This also is why art and writing and movies and all of these amazing different forms of media are so important, because they're showcasing somebody else's experience of life through that lens, and it makes things richer.